Hello all. I had to remind myself again what happened in episode 5 and 6 of Daredevil Born Again. Apart from the odd moment, it's just washing over me now. Episode 5 is weird. It's like putting an episode of Police Squad in the middle of The Wire. It's so jarringly different in tone. It featured a cameo of a character no one cares about, and when I say cameo, he's in the entire episode. Episode 6 is clunky in its execution. Both episodes are just leaden, devoid of any tension or excitement. I don't know if it's the writers doing an impression of the Netflix show that's the problem, or just the dull direction. The continuous jarring interjections of the city, or BB's banal and lazy plot pushing vox pops. There's just nothing much here. The lights are on, stuff is happening, but none of it feels consequential, or to have any weight. On to spoilers. As I say, episode 5 feels like a very different tone. It's a bit cartoony, with people not acting like people would. The appearance of everyone's favourite dumb character, Kamala Khan, that's Miss Marvel's dad, hamming it up with cringy dialogue. He's incongruous to what this show was setting itself to be. Obviously, he endlessly references his daughter, which is tedious and obvious, because, as in the comics, the MCU are desperate to make Miss Marvel a thing, which she will never be. Sorry Marvel, she just hasn't captured the audience interest, and all your stunts aren't going to change that. Maybe try good writing rather than casting writers, though it's probably far too late now. The episode takes place in one location, a bank that's being robbed. It starts with Matt applying for a loan, and we discover the manager is out, so Kamala's dad speaks to him instead, but he turns him down. Matt leaves. Robbers who are working for one of Kingpin's underling bosses go to steal something. Matt hears it, goes back in. Luckily for everyone involved, these are the most accommodating bank robbers, and none of their threats have much weight, again, because of the jokey tone. They take Kamala's dad to open the vault. Meanwhile, Matt, after making an excuse to use the loo, takes out one of the robbers. And boy does it take him a long time. Matt took out 2 men in seconds in episode 2, and accepted he has to do it quietly, but it is so laboured. There's no consistency in his abilities. He saves Kamala's dad, then opens the safe using his superhero, and they discover the robbers are after a jewel. Meanwhile, there's been some back and forth between the cops and the lead robber, which is equally nonsensical. Finally, it reaches a climax. The cops are about to go in. Matt arrives back in the foyer, tells the robbers he'll let them have the jewel if he lets everyone go. At the last second, Matt throws the jewel, now in a pouch, to the robber, and chaos breaks out. During this, the lead robber changes into a cop's uniform, hands the jewel off to one of the hostages, who was a plant, then leaves. Matt follows, puts on one of the masks from the robbers, and we get another laboured fight. The hostage opens the pouch and finds a sweet, and it ends with, you guessed it, Kamala's dad again. Matt's there chatting to him, and after he leaves, Kamala's dad finds the jewel in a bowl of sweets. Honestly, this was a nothing episode that didn't need to be in here. It has a link to Kingpin's crime family, but it actually contradicts the narrative surrounding Matt's journey. There's been a slow build where he's resisting having to fight, but here he just jumps straight in, relatively light-heartedly, with no sense of remorse. Having mentioned that Matt's ability is inconsistent, because Matt is supposed to be a superhero trained in multiple fighting styles, but here he's just fighting normal people, like he did in episode 2 where he took out 2 men in seconds. But here he struggles. He just pales by comparison to other powerless superheroes in the MCU. It's why I like the corridor fight in She-Hulk, because he looked capable. And you got to bear in mind, a woman who looks like she could be a member of the Lollipop Guild from The Wizard of Oz is taking out big-ass men in Captain Falcon. It's just absurd, and by comparison it makes Matt look weak. Episode 6 has some really poor setups, but let's do this in some sort of order, as there are crossings but coinciding storylines again. It started with some municipal workers finding a body and trying to clean up the murals that have been popping up. It's revealed later on that they're painted using human blood, but they're unaware at that time it's Muse. One of Kingpin's crime bosses, the one linked to episode 5, visits and acts tough. Matt is praying, going through his actions, then in a terrible scene, Matt's girlfriend says she's going to write a book on vigilantes and ask for his help as he knows some. There's an exchange about the motivations, but there's zero chemistry between these two. Lots of words, no feeling. She's just a victim in waiting. Kingpin is about to hobnob with the elite of New York and Vanessa puts his jacket on and it tears. I must admit, I thought he was looking bigger, and I'm guessing this is a physical manifestation of his journey back to his bad old ways, though I'm not sure he ever really left them. The elite clearly want nothing to do with him, and only the swordsman from Hawkeye gives him the time of day. Clunky Scene Ahoy. The White Tiger's niece goes to see Matt for help, because her uncle talked to her about missing people he was looking for and a location that linked them. Isn't that wonderfully convenient, and can we guess who's going to try and Scooby-Doo this shit? Matt kind of dismisses her. At the end of the day, he's a lawyer. A little strange she went to see him in the first place, but I guess she thought he was someone she could trust. Clunky Scene 2 Ahoy. The detective who works with Matt turns up and tells him that there's a serial killer who's killed at least 60 people and the cops are keeping it quiet. Then he tells Matt not to do anything. I mean, if you don't want him to do anything, why do you tell him? Clunky, jarring setup. Kingpin creates an anti-vigilante group from all the dirty cops who have the Punisher tattoo, claiming they are there to target the serial killer Muse, who is now the prime suspect. Unsurprisingly, for something as subtle as a smack in the face from a halibut, Hector's niece goes looking and gets captured by Muse, who hooks her up to his blood-draining tool. Clunky Scene number 3. Her mum rings Matt to tell her she's missing, and thank goodness she visited Matt earlier to tell him where she'd be. This is such basic writing. Matt dons the suit and goes on the hunt for Muse, and at the same time Kingpin goes to see Loverboy, gives him an axe and challenges him to get away. Matt finds Muse and a fight ensues. Both of these fights are intertwined, and it's quite nice, as both of them are giving into their violent natures, mirroring each other's rage. Though I wonder if there was some unusual editing here, because Kingpin's rage seems to have come from nowhere, and I feel like maybe his dismissal at the meeting of the elite should have been the catalyst for this fight. Matt defeats Muse and manages to save Hector's niece, though how, given how much blood she's lost, is a mystery to me. Muse gets away and Kingpin, who has easily wrecked Loverboy, drags him back into his cell. And we end with both men musing, excuse the pun, over their actions. Again, with the fighting, Matt is struggling to put Muse down. I guess Muse is technically a supervillain, and he is clearly outclassed, but it's not until a certain point in the fight where Matt loses his shit when we see him really start to dominate. At least we see him being stronger, but it shouldn't take him being rage-filled to be able to handle a fight. He's not the Hulk. So I guess this episode moved the story on, which I've been hoping for, but it felt a bit meh. It's just devoid of tension or excitement. Sure, the fight at the end was cool, but the road there was tortuously dull and painfully obvious. I'm wondering, are any of you really enjoying this show? I'm not seeing that much of a buzz for it online, and I understand the viewing figures aren't great. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.